So you thought footy was done?
Yeah, it was me. Thought it was done.
18, 19?
17, 18. Bro, we ended up not finding a rental, not finding a job. We had a Kia Rio 2003. Bro, we lived in this Kia Rio for like 3 months.
All four of you?
Yeah.
Sleeping in the car?
Bro, all four of us. No. I didn't ever have hard conversations.
Yeah.
I didn't have like, mate, I'm struggling, like those sort of conversations. I just go out and get on the piss.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good, bro. And I still find it hard, bro. But the harder it is, the more accomplished you feel when you actually do talk to them about tough times and what you're going through. And yeah, it only gets easier.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Keegan and Company podcast. For those who are new to the show, my name is Keegan Hipgrave. And guys, if you haven't already, could I get you to jump over, give us a little like and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to this podcast on, whether it's Apple, Spotify, YouTube. It's a great way for us to grow the platform, grow the podcast, and just have some incredible conversations like I'm going to have today. In this episode, I'm joined by one of the great men, professional NRL player for the Sydney Roosters, Brandon Smith. Smitty, what's doing? How are you, man?
Not a whole lot. Rocked up 15 minutes late, so sorry about that.
That's all right.
It's pretty stock standard for me, I'll be honest. But yeah, I'm excited to be on this potty.
Brother, I was doing a podcast with Jesse Marschke, one of our really good friends, before this, and I was saying that you were coming on afterwards, and he's just like, man, just allow for like 15 or 20 minutes just to be late, bro. I was just like, nah, man. He's like, you told me 9:30, it'll be sweet.
Nah, yeah, I definitely didn't have enough sleep after the game. It's always tough to sleep after games.
Yeah.
I'd probably have about 2 or 3 hours, but I still wake up at the normal time.
But you're locked in, yeah?
Yeah, so I enjoyed every bit of the 15 minutes I slept in.
Mate, take it what you can. How was it playing the old team? Because you had Melbourne Storm on Thursday night. How was that?
Yeah, the emotion is definitely not as big as it was when I first played against them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's shit, bro, because I haven't beat them yet. So
You haven't beat him?
Nah, I'm 0-4.
Yeah. Oh, far out, man.
Yeah, 2 of the games they've won in the last 5 minutes. It just gets annoying, but I was a part of those wins a lot of the time as well.
Yeah.
So you got to take the good with the bad. But yeah, I'm sick of Harry beating me. It's pissing me off.
Yeah. I actually for these podcasts, like I'll call up a few of the boys just to like get background, like funny stories and that.
Yeah.
And I called Harry Thursday afternoon. I was like, hey man, like what's doing? He's just like, oh, I'm just getting ready for the game. And I was like, oh, I was like, sorry, bro. That's how out of touch I am with rugby league at the moment. I was like, sorry, bro. He's like, yeah, we're playing the boys tonight. I was like, how you feeling? He's like, yeah, feeling good. Like, did you get to catch up with the boys after the game?
Yeah. I went into the change rooms, then spent a little bit of time there, but they were enjoying themselves too much for me. I was pretty depressed at the time.
Yeah.
But then I went to the hotel that they were staying at, just Hyde Park down the road.
Yeah.
Had a few beers, a few wines. I drove, unfortunately, so I had to drive home. I couldn't get too much in, but it was good to see them. Like seeing Belzy gave me a big kiss on the head, and all the boys were like, "What the fuck?
That's just weird, bro.
What just happened?" And yeah, I guess it was pretty special to see everyone and just still feel like, you know, you're one of the boys and still feel like you're at home. So I enjoyed that.
It's cool that you can go into the sheds afterwards and it'd be sweet.
Yeah, it's a weird one though. You feel like the way Robbo was, you kind of feel a bit nervous that you're celebrating a loss or going in, but I think he understands well enough.
You're not like, I'm actually going to go over with the winning team. so boys.
Any contracts? Nah, none of that.
Yeah.
But just genuine love for each other at that club, and it makes you feel part of something. So it's always cool to feel that way.
That was the thing I got out of it, because I did a podcast with Nico not too long ago, and that was a big thing. Yeah, he said he's just like, I always feel like obviously love it being at Cronulla and being at the Sharks, but he's like, there'll always be a special spot at the Storm for me. Like even going to weddings now. Whose wedding was? I think it was like Hughes's wedding. Yeah. Go back and like everyone's back together, and it's like you'll always be a part of that family.
Yeah, the Hughes's wedding was unreal to see everyone and like, because that was everyone, bro. That was like all the boys, like Jesse Brom, Kenny Brom, they were all there.
So sick.
All the wives and partners are all there, and it's weird how you become so close, but winning in grand final really helps propel that relationship to another level. But I think Nico played a big part in a lot of that, and the COVID sort of period. We were just stuck together, and we did 2 years of it really away from Melbourne and Sunshine Coast, and we ran a lot of mental health classes. Well, we didn't run them. Nico ran some mental health classes at the COVID at the Twin Waters thing, and he had like full like PowerPoint presentations.
Did he really? I didn't know it was that in depth.
Up on a little altar, bro. Like it was cool, man.
That's so cool, man.
And it's just like a space to open up for everyone to sort of talk, and it was surprising how many people actually did talk, and how many people actually felt comfortable to do that in those situations. Like people you wouldn't think, big tough rugby league players, and I think that was a huge stepping stone to bring that relationship together, especially when it was a bit tough. We didn't know when we were going to go home. We didn't know. There's a lot of unknown really, and we were just living out of our suitcases, kind of. All right, we'll pack your bags, you've got to be here in 2 days.
Well, I remember when COVID hit, and I don't know how it was for you boys, but for us when I was at Para, it was like, got a call that night and we said, we're all going to Queensland the next day, pack your bags. Boys woke up to the phone call that morning and they were like, I had to pack a bag because they're like, we're not sure when we're going to come home. So just pack for like a month.
Yeah, we were pretty similar, but they told us to pack for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So they were in Melbourne, and they just said, boys meet at the team meeting room. Did like a big, massive team meeting, and then it was like, you're going to Twin Waters for 2 weeks, possibly longer. So just bring some stuff, and the rest was history. We were there for about 6 months.
Yeah, man. But it's ballsy for Nico to get up and run a session like that, because I'm pretty sure he hadn't debuted, or maybe he just started playing or something like that. So it was early days, yeah?
Yeah, like it was 2020, so it would have been the year he started, like he first come into the squad.
Yeah.
But he was killing it.
Yeah.
So when you're going pretty well, you got a bit more confidence around the team, you got a bit more of a voice. But to even, I don't know, to have the balls to do something like that, hats off to him, and it's a pretty cool thing, because Nico is he's one of those guys that before that meeting you already knew you could go talk to, and you understood his life and what he's been through, and he was real open with it. So it kind of made you feel more secure in talking to someone about your problems when someone has faced so many problems in their life and then gone through the other end. So
I think there's something in that, even like talking to mates, like when you've got the ability to be able to be open and vulnerable about your own experiences, it's really weird, man. It's like it opens up this little fucking thing where the other person can do the same.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, like, especially in like, imagine that scenario where it's like a group setting.
Yeah.
Everyone's in, and then it's like, oh, well, someone will share, like, oh, well, that actually it almost validates me. It feels like I'm okay to talk about it. Did you find that? Yeah,
like being vulnerable around someone is, it helps them become vulnerable as well. And I think it really tightens a group up.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be part of a group that no one sees each other, no one talks about their feelings.
Yeah.
And, it's a fucking hard thing to do, bro. Like talk about your own feelings. It's hard.
Yeah.
I find it hard. We were speaking about it before on the potty. When I grew up in New Zealand, like it's like harden up is the number one saying when you're going through a bit of drama, and you don't want to burden anyone with your troubles, and there's a lot more to it than that, and being able to speak to your mate in that sort of sense just validates that friendship and where it's at. Like, can I go up to you and be like, I'm going through this, and this, without thinking that it's going to affect the way you feel?
Yeah.
Like that's when you know you've got a good friend. That's a friend you need to hold on to.
It's special, man, because you talked about, and that obviously brought you guys closer, because like you look at the weddings, like Hughesy's wedding, and everyone is still super close. Do you reckon that you can still call these guys after like? Oh,
absolutely. I could have spoke to every one of the people at the table that we were drinking on last night. But even like Boothie, I didn't know Boothie for a while. First time I ever met Boothie, we were playing he was playing for Rabbitohs.
Aaron Booth, one of the great men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time I played against him at the Rabbitohs, we were at the scrum, and I said something about his black tooth.
Yeah.
And he just grabbed my fat bro on my belly and goes, "Geez, you're a fat hooker." And then I was like,
Oh, man.
And I was like, that guy, I like that guy.
Yeah.
But then fast forward, that was the first time I met him. I met him again when he got signed at Melbourne. And I only knew him for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
But he was one of those guys. I've got friends in New Zealand I've known for 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't be able to talk to them the way I talk to some of those boys at Melbourne, especially Boothie, Nico, Harry, Cooper. I've got a good, I guess, network of friends from rugby league, and that's a big thing. Even if I don't have anything after my career, I know that I've got a support group or a network that I can really rely on, and that's pretty priceless to me.
Man, I think that's like my favourite thing about footy. Like my favourite thing that I got out of footy was like the relationships that we built along the way. Like I wouldn't have, like, because me and Harry played all of our like junior reps together growing up. Like I wouldn't have had these relationships if it wasn't for rugby league, right? And like it was the coolest thing. And obviously, like, you know, you got to play in grand finals and do all that, which is fun. But man, the memories and the boys along the way, like that was a big conversation that me and Jesse Marschke had before this conversation. We did a potty, and he's just like, man, the boys, like being around the boys, like he'll be in the car because he's driving to St. George. You know, because he's with the Dragons at the moment. He's calling the boys flat stick in the car. He's just like, well, what's up? He's like, mate, I'm at work. Like, leave me alone. He just wants to check in with the boys. But it's unreal,
he forgot what it's like to be a worker like Jesse Marschke. Now that he's made the big smoke, he's forgot the boys have wake up at 6 a.m. and go to build houses and stuff now.
But even like his debut was so fun the other week.
Oh, mate.
Have like 100 of your mates sitting on a hill, like screaming at you. Like that's gonna be so fun.
Your brother getting kicked out of the grand final.
Can we talk about that for a second?
You're the one with the photo, aren't
Brother,
you?
I had the photos. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it. We've spoken about it before.
Yeah, I've spoken about it on a potty already.
Did you really? I wonder if, because I was thinking about it, I was like, I wonder if we can bring it up, because if I don't know, you're not obviously allowed to jump. You're not allowed to jump onto an NRL field.
I think in the circumstances it's okay.
I think it's sweet, but we were like, because boys got to the pub early. Did you go to Chloe midday?
Yeah.
You were there midday.
Not midday, but I went there beforehand.
Boys were there early, and then we rolled into the pub beforehand, and boys were blind. Like,
yeah.
Like BT was going wild. Like we had but mad crew, like sick crew. And then half time, I look over and Benny Marschke's twin brothers, like on the other side of the fence with the big camera.
I just seen the Seki like look at him and just start slowly walking, and he just did not move. He just kept doing it. I was like, "Bro, you're gonna get."
I took a snap, and because obviously he got kicked out, and then but he managed to make his way back in, man.
The best is like he's got his hat back on. He just walked and sat straight back in the exact seat, he was sitting on to get kicked out. I was like, "Bro, you are so smart. Just hiding in plain sight is perfect."
Put some sunnies on. It's like if he can't see anyone, no one else can see him.
Yeah, bro. I just remember my debut and how special that was, and like I'm just so happy for him, bro. Yeah, he's been working hard for it. He's one of the hardest trainers I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, Jesse Marschke. Yeah, both of the twins, they're unbelievable trainers.
I've never trained with them. I've only got on the piss with them.
Yeah. Toxic as though.
Yeah.
Toxic as.
Yeah.
Every time you go and hang out with the boys, it's just either a roast fest or beers with them. So, I'm glad I don't spend too much time around.
But they're good value, brother.
They absolutely.
They love their mates, and they love, like, work hard, play hard, Yeah.
That's probably Radley's motto in life.
Well, he was saying that when he got the call to debut, he was at Victor's place, and so obviously coach called him and was like, "You're going to make your NRL debut this week." And he said Victor was so good because he was always like prepping him along the way, saying, "Mate, you've got what it takes to play, but it's just a matter of like just getting there and doing it." And like he's stuck in because he's like 26, 27, probably a bit later to make your debut, NRL debut, but he just stuck in there and he just grinded it out.
Well, it's impressive for him because he could have got a contract at Melbourne, and he kind of went, "Oh well, I'm not really gonna, play much NRL, but I'll give the Dragons a crack." But if you're getting offered a contract by Melbourne on a training trial, that means you're something pretty good at training, or they saw something in you. Either you're a real good person or you're a good player. So it's always a shining light when they're offering you a contract.
Yeah. Mate.
I don't know what they saw in me when
I was like, mate, how did you get in there? How did that come about?
Yeah, well, it's a pretty long journey, to be honest. But I was playing for under-20s Cowboys, and sort of was playing pretty good. And then Cowboys offered me a contract, and then Storm offered me a contract, and I kind of just looked at it and said, Craig Bellamy wants to coach me. Billy Slater, Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk, they were all still there at the time. And that's all. That was all she wrote, really. I was off, and it took a long time to get there, though, like a long journey, I guess. Coming from Waiheke in New Zealand. I don't know if you know where that is. Have you ever been?
North Island?
Yeah, North Island. It's a half an hour boat ride from Auckland.
Gotcha.
It's probably like 6,000 people when I was born there.
Super small town.
Yeah, small town. Expensive as now. It's like it's really westernised. And
did you put it on the map, mate?
No way. No way. The wine put it on the map.
It's good wine.
Apparently.
You're not a wine drinker?
I'm a wine drinker, but I haven't drank any really good wine from there. And then I started playing rugby league when I was 3.
Were you that kid at the footy fields that was just always there?
Yeah, bro.
Always
my mum worked in the kitchen, and my dad was the barman.
Gotcha.
And then my dad was also the manager of the A grade side. My mum was like the statistician of the A grade side. I was the ball boy. I went to school with my headgear on, boots on, full rugby league kit on. I started playing when I was 3, but bro, I didn't do anything. Like I was hands in pants, tackling my own teammates. And then I sort of I lived a very strict life. It's just weird because you'd look at me now and you wouldn't think that.
From your parents?
Yeah, my parents were real strict on me. My dad in particular. I grew up. I didn't really, drink or I left pretty early, but I never really got around that scene at all.
Yeah.
I went to my mate's house for barely ever and sort of trained from like age 7. I started boxing. Then I started like running the roads, delivering the mail before I went to school.
Consciously, like because you wanted to play footy, or is that just?
It wasn't me. My dad obviously wanted me to be a rugby league player, and it was tough, bro. It was like I trained a lot. Like I did boxing 3 times a week. Would go over on a ferry from Waiheke to Auckland because there was no teams my grade on Waiheke just because of lack of kids. And so I was like 9 when I started doing that, and I played for the Richmond Rovers, which is like 15 minutes from the ferry terminal. So my mum used to take me when I first started just to get me sort of used to it, and then started playing for another team called Bay Roskell, which was like about 30 minutes from the ferry terminal. And then by then it was getting pretty expensive for my mum to come and sort of take me as well, because the ferry trip's like $45 each way for me and then my mum as well. So it's like $90, and like come from a very blue collar family. And bro, that was tough in itself. I used to have to catch the ferry. It'd take about 40 minutes. Then I'd catch a train, and that'd take about 25 minutes, 30 minutes to get to training. Then I'd train. Then I'd do the exact same route back. And I was like 10. I'm finishing at 7 p.m. If I miss the 7:15 boat home, I have to chill at the boat till 8:45 for the next one.
So your mum did it with you at the start, and then you were.
My mum did it with me till I was 10, about.
And then after that, you by yourself.
And then after that, I did it for 3 years, bro. Then sometimes, if my mum and dad fell asleep, like if I missed the 7:15 boat, it was an 8:45 boat, and then I'd have to bus home. And I remember I'd have to walk up this road, bro. It was like a kilometre road, and it was just like bush either side of me. Like, can you imagine like Harry Potter when they go out in the, that there's just like jungle and bro, you got your head down just walking up, bro. It was so scary.
I was going to say, you scared?
Yeah, I was terrified. I used to just put my hood on, look at the ground and just look at the white line and just like try to just follow that until I knew I was like almost home. And it was scary as shit, but I thought I was cool. Like, you know what I mean? I thought I was like, I'm my own man. Like,
Yeah.
And then sort of just was a bit naughty. Like in New Zealand, where I'm from, your friendship group ranges from. So I had friends that were 9 when I was 13, and I had friends that were 20.
Gotcha.
And you hang out with a lot of the bad ones, and my dad started recognising that, and then my older brother said, well, why don't you move him over to Townsville? And then when I was 13, I got sent to Townsville to go to school and live with my older brother.
That's a young age to move out of home.
Bro, my older brother was 19, he had 2 kids.
Wow.
And then I moved in with him, made 3 kids.
Yeah.
And then that's when it just, like, freedom was just everywhere for me. You can't really tell me to do it without my parents being there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
do you find because it was so strict growing up, then once you got a little bit of freedom, it's like, well, let's go.
It's like kid on ADHD just going absolutely mad.
Yeah.
And my brother never really told me off.
Yeah.
Never really. We got in lots of arguments and lots of fights, and when he lost his contract.
Oh, so he was playing footy as well.
He was playing for the Cowboys.
Gotcha.
Then he had a year contract left for the NRL squad after his 20s deal.
Mm.
He got in a fight with his ex's ex.
Yeah.
And then he got kicked out. And then I was still I was well established there. I'd played Queensland.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to move back. And then the school come up with this idea to like put me in the billet homes.
Yep.
And then I went through about 6 or 7 of those billet homes, and it's the same thing, bro. Like I didn't know these people I was living with. I sort of just lent on my mates for everything in my life, pretty much. And I would sleep at my mate's house 3 times, 4 times a week.
What, just because you didn't get on with the parents?
Or just it was weird, bro. Like you move in with some random people you don't know, and expect to kind of build a family relationship when you're young and naive. It wasn't really for me, and I already had all my mates that I wanted in my life. I didn't need any more people, and then I'd just get kicked out of one for not being home, and then moving to another, and it was the exact same situation, and having parties and stuff, and just being a rat bag.
Yeah, just a young kid. And I tell you what, man, like, I called Harry before the game. You know, so I was called Harry because I'll call a few of the boys just to like get a little bit of background and just for funny stories. But he's like, ask him why he always comes over to the boys' house just unannounced. Like he's like all the time when we were living in Richmond, he's like, he'd either just come over, he'd be like, boys, what's for dinner? Or like, what are we doing? And just hang out for hours. But after you talking about that, I mean, I can see why, yeah? Yeah,
bro. Like all the time, I just lean on my mates.
Yeah.
And I had so many great relationships that I still have now because of it. And some of my mates I call mum, like some of my mates' mums I call mum because the way they treated me, and they sort of took me in, and they never looked at me as in like, what is this fucking kid doing in our house 4 days a week?
Yeah.
Like they knew my situation, and this is the same with Melbourne, bro. I live 500 metres away from Harry. I'll drive straight down to his house every single day. Every day. And just be like, bro, what are we doing today? What's for dinner? Sometimes I wouldn't even talk to them. I'd walk straight in and open the fridge. Like, bro, where the fuck's the food?
Bro, can we do some grocery shops around here, man?
My God, you guys have lived like pigs. I think, I didn't even really realise that. Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, man. And so obviously because you were living in Townsville, the Cowboys just came about. You did under 20s.
Yeah, well, I played Queensland.
The junior reps, Queensland.
And that's where I met, with our mate we were talking about, who's probably a big reason why this podcast is around. Regan, we went to school with him, and sadly, he took his life. And then that was the year I came back from Brisbane. So I was playing for Cowboys. Well, not really playing, just got a contract. And then a lot of those misdemeanors, getting kicked out of the billet homes, and sort of going to parties and getting arrested. I got in a fight with a copper at a party, and I got sacked from the Cowboys from there.
Oh, really? What happened?
Well, one of them was just beating up my mate, and I walked over and kind of open hand punched him. And then
we're allowed to talk about it because we can
yeah.
we can edit anything. By the way,
I've spoken about it heaps. I sort of open hand punched him, like he was beating on my mate Jared Limburner.
Yeah,
and then I sort of mates are everything.
Yeah,
like, doesn't matter if you cop or not.
Shows your background. Yeah, it makes sense.
And then walked over and just. Oh, I think I went to punch him, and then I was like, "This is a copper. You can't punch this guy." And then just like opened my hand up, and then got locked up. Had to walk from the police station home because my phone was dead, and I had no like caretaker that I could get a hold of or knew their number. And then that's probably one of the hardest moments of my life to date. Like I've obviously had some hard moments, but I had to go into a meeting with the Cowboys, and like I was only an under-20s contract, but I thought I was, going to be an NRL player.
Yeah.
And they had Kevin Marty, Michael Luck. My mum and dad were on like, those like box, like telephone, like sort of conference call things?
Yeah, sure.
My older brother was there. My parents were on the phone. And they were talking, and then they just started saying, like, unfortunately, we're going to have to, like, terminate Brandon's contract.
Far out, man.
And, like, at that moment, I thought, that's my life done. Like, I'm never going to be in it.
I was going to say, what do you think about, like, what are you thinking about when you're having these conversations?
Mate, it was pretty tough, bro, because my mum and dad were bawling their eyes out on the intercom thing. I don't know what you call it, but they were bawling their eyes out, like, begging them, like, not to do it, and they didn't really know what I was up to, because they're over in New Zealand. So, and when I go back there, they're on the shining light.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, that was tough. My older brother begging them as well, and just letting people down is probably, and especially the ones you love, letting your mates down is probably my biggest fear in life, and letting your family down is one of the worst feelings you can have, and just hearing your mum weep and your dad like beg people for you to keep your contract. It's like, it was a fucking shit go, bro.
So what happened afterwards? You said you went to Brisbane?
Where I brought up a plan to move to Brisbane with my 4 mates, Christian and Charlie. And Finley, it's 3 mates, I should say. There was 4 of us, and I moved to Brisbane, and they were there, and we had these plans to get jobs and rent a place. And
so you thought footy was done?
Yeah, it was me. Thought it was done.
18, 19?
17, 18.
Yeah.
Thought it was done because I hadn't been contacted by any other clubs.
Do you have a manager at the time?
Had a manager. Like, wasn't contacted because obviously clubs talk. Yeah. And and then bro, we ended up not finding a rental, not finding a job. We had a Kia Rio 2003, and I had the front left driver's side, so I wasn't on the driver's seat. Christian Platt, have you met Christian Platt?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Finley Wilkinson and Charlie. Can't remember Charlie's last name right now because it's Charlie Cowell on Instagram, but that's not his last name. Bro, we lived in this Kia Rio for like 3 months.
All 4 of you?
Yeah.
Sleeping in the car?
Bro, all 4 of us.
No way.
It was disgusting. But it was grouse. At the same time, I loved every moment of that part of my life. My brother was living in Brisbane at the time. I'd go see him every now and then, just sleep in the garage or something. But for the most part, I was sleeping with those 4 boys, or those 3 boys inside our car, and then getting dropped off at training. I got a gig with Wynnum Manly because my brother got signed to the Q Cup side, and then I went and played, what is it, Melbourne Cup?
Like under 18s, under 20s, yeah.
Bro, and it's like that, I still thought footy was over. I was still being, pretty wild. But every day I turned up to training, I turned up and thought, I'm going to have a crack every day. Yeah. Like every day, no matter how I feel, I'm going to, really try. But bro, it was pretty wild, and we used to we had no money, bro. We used to run out of gas. All four of us had these year free RACV like memberships.
Yeah.
And you'd ring up the RACV and say, "Oh mate, I've run out of gas," and they'd come bring you $15 worth of gas, and like they wouldn't make you pay. So
Gotcha.
we had like all four of us had one of those memberships, and we'd just like rinse and recycle. But the car didn't have a first gear for a lot of the time we had
Do
it.
a push start?
No, you had to like go into second gear and fucking proper push the accelerator down, and then just drop it in the second. And like if you're going up a hill, and bro, it stunk, man. We had like all our clothes in the back, and I still look back and think like that was some of the funnest times I've ever had, because I was with my mates every day.
Yeah.
As far as living in a car, it's pretty gross and yuck, and bro, hygiene wasn't it? But we had the best like laughs, giggles, and I think to like how hard I felt, how bad I felt when I was going through, the whole getting sacked and that. I was still young, so who gives a fuck? But I was thinking how hard that was, and then thinking, I'm living in a car now, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I don't really have too many worries. Like, I'm worrying about money and that because I don't have any, and all that stuff. But I'm not worried about, not enjoying my life. I was really in a good place and mentally, and it's tough because it's like I'm not doing good at life at all. I'm living in a car. I don't have a job. I'm not living my dream that I wanted to be. I don't have a footy contract. Like, life was actually shit for me. But then at the same time, I was some of the happiest times of my life.
You hear people talk about that, hey? Like that when they were their poorest, they didn't have, but they had a good crew, like a good family and good friends around them. It's like happiest I'll ever been. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even like, it's not like you were staying in a car for a week. You said you were there for like 3 months.
Yeah, bro. It was 3 months. We ended up just leaving the car in Brizzy in this little park spot because we all went our separate ways. Christian moved to England back with his mum. Finley moved back to Townsville. He ended up getting a job at the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So it's just funnily enough, and one of the boys stayed in Brizzy, but it was weird, bro. We used to get in a lot of people like knocking on the thing and asking if we were okay. And
really.
Sometimes, like if something happened on that street, the police would come and knock on our thing and like ask us all these questions because they thought it was us. And bro, and then fast forward that, maybe because I was in such a good place mentally, I had one of the best years of my career.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What's the turning point? Because I imagine there's a whole like, why I love these conversations is because I think there's a lot of crew out there who might be going through something similar. And it almost validates them, and it makes you like, oh, what you're going through, I've gone through something similar, or it sort of validates them and it makes it okay. Like it makes it normal and it encourages conversation. What do you do like when you're at that stage? Like what was the next steps?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It was pretty unknown for me. But like I said, I went to training every day, and I never ever shirked any work.
Yeah.
I never complained about the situation. I went and got on with my job, and
you got a job? You got the job?
No. I went and got on with my job at training.
Yeah.
That was Melbourne and so under 18s, and because I had that attitude, and I don't know whether it was because I was so, I guess, happy with my life and how I was feeling. I rocked up to training happy and that way, and bro, I ended up winning that Melbourne Storm Player of the Year for the competition, and then Cowboys re-signed me.
Really?
And then, and then probably after like 6 months of being in Brizzy, I ended up, when the boys left, I ended up moving into my brother's garage. I got the contract back, and then I went and played under 20s for Cowboys, and then the year I got back there, that's when Regan passed away, and
were you guys close? Like, did you go to the same school?
Bro, we went to the same school. We were inseparable at school.
All right, man.
After school, we went our separate ways. He stayed in Townsville, and I moved to Brizzy. But like at school, we were best mates.
He was one of the greats.
Yeah. We used to go to all the house parties. We used to kill it with all the girls.
Yeah.
So I'd just hang off his hip, man.
Oh man, he was a very lovable person.
Yeah. And so that hit hard, bro. That hit home, and then like probably a month later, my friend Jared that I was talking about earlier, he committed suicide as well. And
So sorry, man.
nah, it's all good now. I've like come well into terms with it. It's just, going to see his mum and stuff like that is, mate, I just feel grateful that I've been through tough times. I've just never had the balls, or I don't know what you call it. I've never, been able to go through something like that and not be able to get out the other side. And I'm grateful that I was born with a great mental state I just feel for the families. That's all, bro.
That's the biggest thing. Like I remember talking to Regan's mum probably just before this sort of started kicking off. Yeah, like I remember I think I committed because after Regan passed away, like he was someone who I looked up to heaps. Like you boys were, I think, a year older. Got to play with Regan, like did schoolboys with Regan. Someone who I looked up to, like incredible, and you know him better than anyone. Like super funny dude, like loved by everyone. And then when he took his own life, it was like, well, how could someone? Because I thought he had it all together, and I was like, well, how if someone like him had it, like a gun footy player, like you said, like girls frothed him, like respected by everyone, captain of like most of the teams growing up. So well, if he, what I thought he had it all together, I was like, it just didn't make sense.
Bro, for me, it was, I could not believe it. Like, knowing him for that long, bro, I was on the beers with him like a week before that.
Yeah.
Like, we had like a big party for the Cowboys, like under 20s, had like a big party at a house, and it was like a week before Australia Day. And, bro, nothing seemed off.
Yeah.
Like, he was funny. He's always, been that lovable guy, and it just goes to show, bro. Like you honestly you do not know what people are going through. Like a week before, I didn't notice anything, and I've been hanging out with him for the last all of preseason.
Yeah.
And then when I heard that, bro, I remember I was with my girlfriend at the time, and her mum just like ran in the room and just started shaking me, and I was like, what the fuck is she doing?
Yeah.
And then she was like, Brandon, Regan has committed suicide. And I was like, I just woke up. I was like, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
And it hit me like a ton of bricks for a good week, man.
Yeah.
And then going to his funeral and just seeing how many mates he had, bro. Like how many genuine mates he had. He had so many mates that you had to have like 3 groups of people carry the casket. You couldn't just have one group of 6 there. So I felt pretty blessed to be able to get the honour to carry the casket there. And bro, it's bawling my eyes out there. I can't listen to that song ever again. Australian Street by Sticky Fingers.
Yeah, man.
Mate, every time, because that was the song that was playing. A great song.
Great song, man.
But
every time you hear it.
Yeah, every time I hear it, bro, just I think of fucking that moment.
After I started, the podcast started, I was talking to this guy, did a podcast with Jakey, the Unlaced podcast in Melbourne. And he's like, how'd you get into why'd you get into mental health? And I was just like, oh, well, and I'd never spoken about it publicly. And so I was like, oh, well, good friend Regan, this is what happened, everything you talked about. And it just hit. I was like, I'd never spoken about it publicly before, probably got a bit emotional, didn't think I did it justice. I didn't think I spoke about him well enough. It's because you want to speak about him well, you want to tell him about all the good things that Regan was like, because he was the best dude ever. And then Regan's mum reached out afterwards and was just like, and I said to her, I was like, look, I'm so sorry that I haven't been in touch after the last 8 years. And I was like, I probably should have got your blessing to see if it was okay to talk about Regan. I didn't even think. But then the best thing that she said was just like, she's like, my biggest fear was that Regan would be forgotten and his name would be forgotten, or his legacy would be forgotten. So she's like, you talk about him as much as you can. That is the best thing that you can do. And she went on and she spoke about him. She speaks about him so well, man. Like, she's such a legend.
Yeah, Angela, she's a fucking beautiful soul. She always has been, always life of the party as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. And I think not speaking about it doesn't help anyone.
No.
You know, it's a sensitive subject to talk about, mental health, but when you don't talk about it, that's more worse for the case.
Yeah.
And,
it also keeps names alive, yeah? Keeps names alive.
100%.
That's what Brimo said when he lost Hampo, when we lost Liam Hampson. He's just like, I'm more than happy to talk about having these conversations because it keeps their name alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's special.
Yeah, you never want to forget that.
Nah, man.
Fuck.
It's heavy, but it's tough conversation. But like, that's why I think podcast is such a great way to have these conversations and validate. And even like, you think about all the crew back home, like we talked before coming on air, we talked about like the multiculture and how, or even in this episode where it's like, it's a hard thing. It's just like, get on with it. Like I had two really good conversations, one with Brookie Walker, who I was telling you before, and Jordan Ricky. And so growing up, it was kind of like that, where it's just like, we don't talk about what's going on. And Brookie, what Brookie said is like, her dad was like a super tough dude growing up. And he was in and out of foster homes growing up. And more recently, he opened up to her and showed him like all these, like his journal entries from when he was in and out of foster homes, like how he thought he didn't have any hope, how he thought he didn't have any purpose. And that sort of led him to him being like a strong, tough, like young dad, because he was a young dad when he had her. And then he just talked about everything with her, and she's like, oh, well, this makes sense. And so having these conversations, like, well, there's going to be some young kids who are going to go through something very similar, brother. And it's like, well, far out, this is such a great way. It's like someone, because you're obviously like super influential in your community, like you'd have so many young crew looking up to you. And so if you're like, actually it's sweet to talk about what's happening or checking in with mates or even keeping names alive, like super important, bro.
Yeah, even though I went through the Regan and Jared sort of thing, I still was kept my stuff to myself.
Yeah.
Even after that. And then it wasn't until very late that I realized, like, pretty much 2020, like, until I realized that
with COVID?
Yeah, with the Nico thing, then I realized that you can open up and you can talk. Because obviously, I just spoke about my whole life. Like, my whole life was going through adversity and just like looking at it with a smile and trying to, just using my mates to fucking get through hard times, right? Like, but not using them as comfort, just using them as almost a distraction.
Yeah.
I don't know if that doesn't sound great, but like I didn't ever have hard conversations.
Yeah.
I didn't have like, mate, I'm struggling, like those sort of conversations. I just go out and get on the piss.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good, bro. Like now I find it hard to talk about in my own relationship with my girlfriend. I find it very hard to talk about my feelings and feel vulnerable around her because I don't want her to think I'm weak or like something like that. And that's not...
Even now?
Yeah, now.
Really,
now.
bro?
Yeah, so I have that with my friends, but like Nico, Boothie, Cooper, Harry, I can feel that, but coming from my background, you're the man, you're the man of the house, and I don't feel like it's the right way to do it, but I have that that habit in me, and I struggle to do it, and my girlfriend knows that, but we work on it. Try work on it daily. Try to talk about gratefulness and mindfulness, and try to talk about what's going on in your life, and I still find it hard, bro. But the harder it is, the more accomplished you feel when you actually do talk to her about tough times and what you're going through, and it only gets easier.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of people, like I've got Nico, I've got a massive to thank him, I was stoked that I had that. I learned that in 2020 because in 2021 when I went through that stuff with Munster and Chris Lewis, this is actually probably the hardest. That was the hardest time and period of my life.
So what happened with the Munster and Lewis?
We got caught on a camera doing some naughty stuff.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, bro, and it wasn't. I can take shit. Like I can take toxicity from anyone. Don't mind getting sprayed.
Yeah.
Like it's all water off a duck's back. But then when it affects people you love, like when that happened, it was the best season. I was coming off the best moment of my life. Like best season of my life. We didn't win the comp, but we won the comp the year before, and we won 20 games in a row.
Huge.
Something like that. We didn't lose for 6 months.
Yeah.
I won Dally M Hooker of the Year, and then on the Monday, it was the Dally M's, and the Sunday before that was the video.
Yeah.
And then, but on the Monday, I took my mum to the Dally M's. Mum always wanted to go Dally M's and see what it was like. And then as we're walking out of the hotel, bro, get this message from the general manager of the Storm saying this video is about to go viral, and it was a video of me in front of a table, obviously doing stuff that shouldn't have been doing. And bro, I had to tell my mum right there. It was literally walking across the road.
How hard was that chat?
It wasn't that hard, bro, because my mum, like me and her are very close and have a great relationship. But I put the phone and I was like, Mum, see this video? It's about to go viral. A lot of shit's about to go down. And
she was walking into the Dally M's.
Bro, walking into them.
Bro, far out.
And I was like, so sorry, Mum, I'm so sorry. And then went in there, they moved us to a different table, put us on a table with like the CEO, Craig, wasn't allowed to drink.
Yeah.
Mum was just like, bro, I felt so shit.
Yeah.
Then I just felt like all these eyes were on me. And then like I was all right then. I was like, it sucked, bro. It sucked. But not for me. It sucked that my mum, I wanted to enjoy her fucking night.
Yeah.
And then she, they had to kind of just look after me. And then, bro, what really fucking hit home, like when I went back home, my niece and my nephew were getting bullied at school because of something like I did, like something I fucking did that, and hearing that from my brother and just seeing that shit, bro, like that was definitely the something that hurt my heart, man, bad. Knowing that you being an idiot caused so much grief to your family and your loved ones, like letting them down is the ultimate fear for me. And just that, like, I didn't give a fuck what anyone was saying about me in the media, and because I am who I am and I own that, and like I'm a party boy and whatever, but like when it affects the people around you, that's when it really hits home. And all I have for that is if anyone feels like they're going to make a wrong decision at the time, it's not you got to think about. It's not the consequence you got to face. It's the consequence everyone around you's got to face, and that's the one that hurts the most. And
I was going to say, what's like, obviously, mate, there's so much in this story, yeah. Like, and to be honest, I'm so appreciative of you coming on and being so open, bro. Like, it's so huge, but what do you learn? Like, obviously, like you've gone through, mate, more than probably most in your 27 years. Like, what do you learn? Like, what are the big takeaways?
Yeah, I learned that you can always get through tough times by yourself. You can always do it. Like, obviously, it's hard, but it's just so much easier to get through times when you have people around you and a good support network. Like even this year, like I'm in the biggest contract of my life. I'm enjoying my footy. I've had a good career so far. I've won grand finals, and even this year I went through a really bad phase. with some of my family got caught up in some stuff, and Nico, bro, probably saved my career.
Really, man?
To be honest.
How so?
Just I rang him up and I said, bro, I need a favor, and he's like, anything. And it was a hard conversation to have with him. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about the detail, but
we don't have to.
But I rang him, bro, and it was like done. And like I it's probably definitely something that if it went south and like I wouldn't be playing.
Man, it's we're so fortunate.
And like, bro, I had to have conversations with other people, and I was like, bro, they were just like, talk to Nico.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. Yeah, right. And I know I could, but it just, you got to take that courage and being that vulnerable. And I always knew I could talk to him.
Yeah.
And then it was just getting that validation from one of your other mates.
Yeah.
And I rang him up, bro, and it was a tough thing I asked him, and he didn't even blink. You know what I mean? He didn't even blink. He's like, yeah, well, I'm going to have to do it then.
Yeah.
Done it, bro, and then sorted it all out. And the next day, my whole, everything, every weight on my shoulders, like, just went. And I was like, fuck, that's a mate, bro.
First of all, so fortunate enough to have some of the best mates ever. We are so fucking fortunate to have the best mates. But then, man, what you said then, when it's like a weight is off, man, I get it, bro. Because it's like when you're holding stuff in and it's just sitting there, especially if you're uncomfortable, you're not sure whether to have the conversation. As soon as you do, man, it's like, I feel fucking great.
And I probably could have done it by myself, but it would have taken a lot longer. And I was in the middle of preseason. Yeah. Like I could feel it was sort of affecting a little bit. Wasn't sleeping as well. Yeah. And then like I was holding on to it for ages. And then when I finally spoke about it and spoke to like Nico and the boys, it's just boom, gone.
Far out, man.
Bro, like honestly, and I walk in next day just over the moon, not worrying about anything. And bro, that's the big learning curve. It's just this, like, the people around you, like, you've got people around you that are willing to help if you're willing to ask them for help.
Yeah,
like,
man.
And that's the toughest step, is it's asking them for help is the toughest thing. And it doesn't matter how strong you are, tough you are, rich you are, bro, everyone needs help. And it's just, I'm stoked that we got mates.
We're so I'm
stoked we got our mates.
Love my mates, man. Yeah. Love our mates. But mate, to me, like, you look like someone who is like super self-aware. Yeah, like you know what's going on. Like you're very calm. And like, if you're not self-aware, like, I imagine that's probably when you can get in the shit a bit. But like, what do you do to like stay on top of things now? Like you said, you're good at talking to your missus. Like, is there any things that you do that sort of helps, being around the boys, like physical exercise? Like, is there, like, I'm thinking about for crew that are listening.
Bro, I see a psychologist. Like, I'm not a fucking, I don't enjoy it. I'll be honest, I don't enjoy it. It's tough because I don't like really talking about my problems. Yeah. But we have a psychologist named Ollie at the Roosters, and I don't see him often, but when I'm feeling that struggle, I'm feeling like I need a little bit of help. Yeah. It's always good to see professional people as well, but not so much the like comfort I get. It's the steps they put you towards.
That's the biggest thing.
You know what I mean? They put a program for you to follow, and that's how I like it. I don't like going into the psychologist meeting and like talking about my problem and all that.
Well, you don't want to ruminate on it.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't want to just like soak in the problem. Yeah. I want to, like, this is my problem, how can I get through it? And then he'll say, guys, like, are you connected? So are you having enough relationship with your friends or family? Are you making enough calls to them? Yeah. Have you got hobbies? Have you had, like, mindfulness? Like, all that stuff. And when you don't check enough boxes, then there's a reason the problem is. And I'm not a psychologist, so I don't want to give any advice, but I definitely suggest you go find one. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, the ones that you can talk to them, and you got to be honest with them. When I first went to one after the incident in 2021, I went and seen one. I just didn't like it because I didn't open up.
Yep.
Like, you're paying this guy money and you're just lying to him, basically. It's like, no, I'm all good. Like, you can't do that. You have to really just, like, dive into it. You have to lean into that sort of stuff. And I'll probably go see him soon just to see where I'm at.
Yeah.
Not that I'm struggling at the moment, but yeah, it's always good to see professional advice as well as having your friendship group.
Bro, have the both of them. Yeah, that's the best thing. Like, and I'm the same as you. Like, this podcast isn't a way of telling people what to do. Like, this is just a way of creating conversation. Like, and I will preface that. Like, I'm studying psych. Like, I want to learn more about psychology. So I'm very pro psychologist. But I think what you said about like giving the steps of like what actually, I think that might be the athlete in us, or like we don't want to ruminate. Tell us what to do,
yeah,
bro.
we're front rowers, bro. we're soldiers, man. Just tell us what to do and we'll bloody do it.
Man. Like, let us just like give me some practical steps. Like, I remember when like I busted up with my missus, and I was like, how long does it take for me to like not feel sad?
If you told me 3 weeks, I'd be like, bro, psychologist told me 3 weeks, I'll be sweet.
Bro, it's funny you say that, because she's like, it's usually 21 days. Like, it's like so 3 weeks, bro. But she's just like, well, like, and obviously it's fucking sad, and that's fine. Yeah. But she's like, because you're detoxing from a person, So getting away in 3 weeks and like telling your friends not to mention them or whatever, like. Not to fucking bring up past like relationships, but it's like giving practical steps is so beneficial, and they can give you an understanding of why you potentially might be feeling a certain way. And then it's like, well, these are the things to do. Connect with your friends and family. Like, go do things that you like to do. Like, for me, it's surfing. Like, I love being in the water. I don't know what it is for you, but it's just like, go and do those things. But then also you got the professional help, and it's not like, you might not enjoy your first psychologist. It's kind of like dating, you know, like find someone who you relate to, but then also your mates, like lean on your friends as well. Yeah. And then if you are a friend who is like on the receiving end of it, like sometimes people don't want like advice. They just want to be listened to and heard.
Oh, absolutely. Like I wouldn't say that Nico gives the best advice. He just sits there and just like he's next to you. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And that's you hit the nail on the head there. It's not about being a psychologist to your friend. Nah, man. It's about just being a friend to your friend. Right. Like, that's all it is.
There was this one thing someone said to me the other day where it's just like, you pay a psychologist to give you advice and they listen, but then you don't pay your friends and they give you unsolicited advice anyway, bro. I was like, that's so true, man. But then it's like, it's a full learning curve. Like, I'm more like learning now. It's just like when I'm talking to friends, it's all about listening. And then like, if they want advice, I'll give them this limited amount of knowledge that I'll have. But I'll always direct crew to go see a psych, man. So it's so cool.
It's an experience as well. Like, if you want to try something new, it's definitely something that if you lean into it, it's something you've never really experienced before. Just talking to an absolute stranger, like about like issues. I actually find it pretty funny.
Yeah, like, yeah. But it's cool because it's like it also takes like the emotion out of it as well. And they're giving you a like objective point of view. Brother, mate, what are you looking forward to? What's coming up that you're excited for?
Man, I'm looking forward to the next step in my life, to be honest. Like, 27, had my missus quite long enough. I'm not proposing on the air.
Boy, is this an exclusive view?
Nah, but just seeing like Radley's just had a baby boy, Vinny. Yeah. Just seeing what that sort of aspect of life looks like. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, bro. I'm looking forward to becoming a dad. Being able to teach him what I know, and I'm looking forward to the next steps in life, and hopefully it can come sooner rather than later. I hope my missus doesn't watch this whole thing. But just excited on like what more adventures life has. I've been through some pretty cool times in my life, and I've lived with a lot of freedom. But then there's so many phases in our lives. Like that was, I had that phase growing up where I was by myself, and that was my fun phase. And then I'm in my footy phase at the moment, and I want to be in my parental phase and grandparents and all that. And, just moving on to that next phase in life is exciting for me.
What does life look like after footy? Do you think, are you thinking about that? Because obviously you're doing a great job with like the podcast, and you're doing like a lot of radio. Like what does life after footy look like?
No, I'd definitely like to get into something on the radio, podcast, anything like that. And just being around football, because I feel like I can talk about footy a lot, and I love it, but it's just something I've been passionate about all my life, and I don't feel like I go to work anymore. I don't feel like, training is work to me at all. I'm in a very blessed position, living a very good life. There's ups and downs, but at the end of the day, my life is my dream. Yeah. And I dreamt of this when I was a kid, and if I was to look back and like think, fuck, like I'm having a shit day, it's like, mate, imagine what I was thinking when I was 17. I got sacked. You would never believe that you were playing for the Sydney Roosters. You won a premiership. You won awards. You'd never believe that, and I got to be grateful for what I got at the moment, because it's fucking awesome, bro. Right. I'm living my dream, and the 15-year-old kid would be kicking himself, man.
Right, man, it's so cool to see. Yeah. I love sitting back and just watching it all unfold, man. Like it is really cool. Even at Jesse's debut, just before, I don't know if you'd had a couple of beers or not, but you're just like, man, I love what you're doing on the potty. I love hearing about this kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, that's so cool for you to say that, man. And to be honest, I'm super appreciative of you coming on and just being so open and just honest and vulnerable. To be honest, coming in here, I didn't know what I was going to get. Like I wasn't sure but then after we had, like when we had that chat before Jesse's, I was like, I reckon you'll be the one that will lean into it, because there's so much benefit that can come out of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there is, bro. And like, I was super excited to come on here, because it's not ordinary podcast, bro. Yeah. Like I've been on a heap now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I talk about similar stories, but not the same way. Yeah. And just, I know that this is the space to do it, and you've had some fucking good people on here. I listen to it all the time, because I love that my mates talk about that stuff. Yeah. And you love hearing people open up, and I think you're doing a great job, bro.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. I really do appreciate it, because even now I feel fucking lighter.
You feel good?
You know what I mean? I feel lighter. I feel like, fuck, I've said some stuff that I've thought about it, and now I've come through it now, and I'm feeling good about it.
Man, that's exactly what I mean.
Like,
I love to hear that.
I feel like I'm leaving, feeling like I've got rid of some baggage.
Oh man, I love to hear it, because I'm conscious of it. Like we talked about like ruminating. Like ruminating in like bad feelings is not great, but when I talk about it, it feels like a weight off. Like, Braden Maynard, one of the captains at Collingwood, he spoke about him dealing with OCD when we went on a podcast, and he'd never spoken about it openly. Really? I called him the night before, and I was just like, look, and I didn't know. I was just like, hey man, I heard you were struggling, and he's a good friend. Like, he's one of the greatest dudes. And I was like, I heard you talk about something in 2017. Like, are you comfortable talking about it? He's like, Keys, I'm not comfortable. Like, this is something that I don't want to talk about. And I was like, look, the fact of you coming on is like big enough in itself. We're like midway through the potty, and he's like, Keys, I know last night I said I wasn't open to talking about it, but I think it could do a lot of good, and like I'm ready to speak about it. And I was like, well, what is it? Talked about like how he'd been struggling with OCD, like couldn't sleep before games because he was constantly checking the back door. Like he said, it just when no sleep, games, like gives the most rattling thing. And even him talking about it, like was just so emotional, and it just hit. And then same thing after the pot, he's like, far out, I feel so good now. Like I feel a weight off, and man, it was so cool, because the thing, like, yes, he talked about his like being honest and vulnerable, but he also gave the practical steps, like getting off your phone an hour before bed, because that really stimulated him. And we had so many messages from parents sitting down with their kids who'd just been diagnosed with OCD, or people who were struggling with it, and it like validated them, like Braden Maynard's doing it, so it's all right. So for you to be like, man, I feel mad, I'm like, far out, that's so sick.
Right, that's the feelings you get when you do like get vulnerable with your mates, or you go to a psychologist. Like, that's the feeling you get. You feel like you're fucking uplifted and ready for the day. So I'm glad we did it in the morning.
Yeah, bro.
Ready to fucking punish the day.
Yeah,
Let's go.
let's go, man. Let's go. Man, let's wrap it up. Again, thank you, bro. I really appreciate this, man. This has been a sick chat.
Thanks, Keegan. Appreciate being on in, bro.
Bro.
Hectic.